Hello everyone. Have you ever pondered why your AI-generated films feel so generic? Sure, they're cool, but they don't quite capture the right spirit or the precise personalities you're looking for. In this video, we're going to check out a new customization model called First Frame is the Place to Go, FFGO for short. This sleek new AI model is changing the game when it comes to video customization. Imagine you feed it merely 20 to 50 reference images and it transforms the first frame into a conceptual memory buffer. There will be no major fine-tuning or architectural changes. It uses the latent superpowers of base models such as Wan 2.2 to handle stuff like multi-character crossovers, human object dances, and even a tiger riding across a wheat field. It's lightweight and durable, and it truly unleashes personalized video magic in anime, product presentations, and other applications. And the best part? We'll bring this right here, implementing it step by step with ComfyUI. So, for this model, FFGO, the only thing you need to run it with the ComfyUI Wan video wrapper is to have the LoRA models that are compatible with the Wan 2.2 model. Now, as you can see here, there's a link. This goes to their official Hugging Face repo. This isn't for the ComfyUI Wan video wrapper, but you can take it as a reference to see what kind of information they have. And if you really want to use that for running in ComfyUI, you can check this page. And this is for the Wan 2.2 FFGO. There's a BF16 for both the high noise and low noise LoRA models. So download each of those two files and link them up in the LoRA loader with your image to video workflow. First of all, here I'm using the Wan video wrapper, one of the example workflows for image to video. It starts from here. As you can see, the WAN 2.2 image to video high noise and low noise. The good thing about this framework is that the first frame is the plug-and-play place to go. This framework is based on Wan 2.2. It's not like the ByteDance previous framework that's still using 2.1, so it does have better motion for overall video generation. The top connections here, I'm just using the basic image to video Connect Lite X2V, which comes from the example workflow for generating image to video. So it doesn't have anything different. But I want to have a comparison, one without using FFGO and the one at the bottom here, where I'm applying the model loading using the FFGO model. The good thing about these models is that they're only very lightweight LoRA models to run, so all you need is to connect the LoRA loader in the Wan video wrapper. Connect that with your other LoRAs in the pipeline, as well as the WAN video model loader for image to video. So overall, this has two sets of pipelines sharing the same input data, as well as the same sampling steps, and also the same set of text prompts, input image, and video embed for encoding our input image. So the first result here, I'm grabbing the example image from the research page so you can test it by yourself. And here are some reference examples, so you can get this image and use these exact text prompts, just copy and paste. And you can try it with the testing result. And my testing result is this. This is the normal WAN 2.2 image to video. And as you can see in the start frame, there's the input image, but as it transitions into camera motion, some of the character details don't stay consistent. Well, that's because it's all based on the text prompts to describe things. So it still has the character, but there are some missing parts, like the character's outfit, etc. The only ones that stay consistent are Wukong and Mario. Their outfits stay consistent. The second generation here, I'm using FFGO, and this is the result I got. And you can see the character has more consistency. But then Naruto is still missing the hair in this part, so it might not be the perfect settings here. So let's see what we get next. The second example I'm trying here is a little simpler. We have two images as reference. One is an alien, and the other is an astronaut. Looks like they're walking on the moon. Not sure if that's real or not, but that's just what it looks like from the image. So when you load this into a normal image to video, you'll see it doesn't fully transition into that particular experience we want, from image to video. But with FFGO, you get full video generation based on that first frame image. As you can see in all the video examples I tried with these LoRA models, the first input frame appears in the video generation. So maybe you need to trim off that first frame, and then, from the second frame onward, you'll have the content that's actually generated using that reference and the LoRA to produce the video. Now, as it's mentioned, the first frame is the place to go. So what that means, of course, is that it takes the first frame of whatever you input and uses that for video content customization, just like how we used reference to video in Wan 2.1 VC. So, the next example is the tiger and Tasman, one of the scenes in the forms. So we're going to generate this one more time with this workflow. And I'm going to try to customize this workflow to make it an easier way for us to have multiple inputs. Okay, so in this example, it's clearly showing that the bottom one here is taking real effect, showing how you can have multiple subjects or objects in that video content rather than using normal image to video. With normal image to video, you won't be able to make that good of an effect in some images, like for example this one. You won't be able to create the man on the tiger. And I've tested this framework so far. The LoRA model is able to handle about 3 objects with one background and do it well. But with more than that, like in the last example with Naruto, with multiple characters, you start to get a little bit off in performance. Basically, when you have more than 3 characters that you want to include with one image background, like in this combination where you have 5 characters, it starts to get a little off in content. So you start getting the context messed up, and there's limited context too. So it just can't handle too many characters referenced in one scene. Now that's the reality of what it is. After testing this framework throughout, the quality and how it looks, for example, in this video, I'm thinking about the comparison with Phantom, which I talked about before, based on Wan 2.1, creating subject references to video. And I also talked about this framework in a previous YouTube video. You guys can check it out. It's still able to reference, but only partially correct like in these examples back then. So I'd say the motion here, as we can see, is more enriched compared to Wan 2.1, obviously since we're using Wan 2.2 now. If you just want a quick merge of different subjects and backgrounds, this is okay to try, give it a try, but it's not ideally good quality for every scene's creation. So next, I'm going to try customizing this input, especially handling the image for up to 3 subjects with one background. That would be ideal for this input. And I'm going to first delete the one on top, the model loader. We don't need the top part here either. All we need is this set of custom nodes to run this framework. So for the input image, we create something like a canvas group. First of all, if we want something like what we saw on the project page, let's say this one, where we've got 2 objects and 1 background, then, like this, we have to do a stitch, something called image stitch. I'm going to use this node. Now, this node is from the remove backgrounds custom nodes as well. The maximum it can handle is 4 images, but I'm going to use these 4 slots just for object input. We'll dedicate another one for the background stitch as well. First, for every image, for example, I've got a car that I want to use, and I'll remove the background here first. With this custom node, there's another remove background node that's really handy to use, so I can handle each input image, remove its background, and then input it as an image. For the backgrounds, I'm going to use everything in white color so it matches the stitch color as well. And I'll do that for the rest of the 3 objects, or maybe, since this image stitch supports 4, let's say we put 4 images for the input. While number 3 and number 4, you might want to bypass if you don't need them, so that will only leave 2 subjects or objects to use, or if you really want to use all 4, then you enable those, where we're handling this image as one unit, and we're going to handle the background with this image stitch. By doing that, we have directions for the right side. And another note, the native ComfyUI node for image stitch can only handle 2 images, which is good enough for this situation, where we combine the object images and the background images into one. So we only stitch 2 here. And this time, we don't need to remove backgrounds. It's not really necessary to do. And then we have the output image here. So we'll test this first. But by the way, since all those images are different sizes, we need to have an image resize node in between before passing them into the stitching. So the best way to handle this with better management is to have all the image resize nodes here before you pass them into the image stitch. That way, you can tidy everything up with the same dimensions. Okay, so after doing some testing and modifications, the image canvas can be done like this. We have 4 objects that can be input, along with the background image. The background image should be a little smaller rather than this big, so I'm going to test that out, change some inputs here, and we'll bring that into the workflow to replace this section. So after setting this, we can use this section as one group in the workflow. Therefore, I'm able to replace these sections here. We have to prepare the image canvas before we pass it into the workflow, so we can leave this out and put this input in here. Now here's another example. After I integrated the image resize and preparation canvas, I have one character here and a new background for creating a new video. In here I have groups for VL, which is used for captioning those images. Now you can toggle the bypass for those images on and off, so you can use 1 or up to 4 object images, and then the dedicated background image is handled underneath. And then we pass all that data to the sampler, and here's the result. As you can see, the background was the dining room with the brown-haired woman sitting at the table, and we have the red-haired woman that I added based on the input I provided. Another step I want to add is trimming out the beginning few image frames. So by doing that, we're going to add an image frames batch node here. Let's say we trim out images from the beginning of this video, and we also have to check what the total length is. That's why I dragged that preview image while recording this, to make sure we have the right numbers in the image frame batch. So when you run this again, you see there's one more left. That's because we booted up the start image from 4, so the first 4 image frames from the output video were our reference image that we customized for these scenes. And afterward, we cut it out. Now it looks way smoother, without that flickering of the first frame from FFGO. So that's how we've done it so far for this workflow. And here's another example using that same reference character and other backgrounds I had, this one with another dining table and the same prompts. This other one looks like a live stream of a 22-year-old influencer in front of the camera where we have a cozy living room background. 2 characters speaking. We can create something similar for dancing as well. As you can see, we have a cat character with a dancer taken from this reference image, and I've added a stage for the dance floor so they have a suitable environment for this motion. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!